Hello, my name is David Spies. I'm a landscape architect and a certified playground safety inspector. My company is Safe Play by Design Incorporated. I'm sure you've all heard comments about heat in the playground. I've heard comments that, oh, you should use lighter colors of poured-in-place surfacing because the heat is less than the darker colors. Well, I do a lot of playground safety inspections and a lot of surface testing for play areas. And so I was in a playground one time that had, in the same area, it had synthetic turf, it had some asphalt, some concrete, and several different colors of surfacing material. So I tested it to make sure. And yes, there is a difference in temperature between lighter colors and darker colors, but it isn't what you imagine. It has to do with the pigment that's used, not in the actual color. So depending on what pigment is used, you could have a yellow surface that's actually hotter than a black surface. Interesting. I tested synthetic turf and found that it had a higher temperature than asphalt. There was brand new asphalt on the school and brand new synthetic turf, and they both rated over 160 degrees temperature. I tested different colors of rubber, and yes, there's a difference, but have you ever thought of the fact that when you watch TV and usually they're talking about hot water, and they say turn the temperature of your hot water heater down to 120 because more than that will scald your child when you give them a bath. Well, poured-in-place black rubber is 160 degrees and red or green is maybe 150. So yes, it's cooler, but is that going to make any difference? Not really. The other thing you hear frequently is that slides should be faced to the north, so they're cooler. Well, again, that might be partially true, but I've tested plastic and steel slides on the same site at the same time and found that there's almost no difference in the temperature of the two products. There is a difference. If the clouds come over, the plastic will cool faster than the metal. It's kind of like when you're doing greenhouse effect. You build a patio or a enclosed room and you put a concrete pillar in the middle to absorb the heat. So even after the clouds cover, the heat of the concrete pillar continues to warm the space. That's what happens in a playground too. Young children, especially 2 to 3 year old children, haven't learned yet what heat is. So if they sit on a hot manhole cover, for example, they scream and yell till mother picks them up. They don't realize that sitting on the manhole cover is going to burn them. They haven't lived long enough. So we have to protect the children from things like that. I've seen a lot of play equipment that is metal that continues to have heat. Some surfaces, there's one product that has a kind of a lumpy surface. It's cooler. Well, it's not really cooler, but it has all these air spaces in between the little lumps, so it feels cooler. Anyway, the simple test is, if you can't put your hand on the piece of play equipment and hold it there for 10 seconds, then you shouldn't allow your children to play on it. If it's 110 degrees in Redding at 10 o'clock in the morning, not a good time to be in the play area. You see a lot of cities now are starting to put in shade covers over the play area. That's a good idea, but if it doesn't have that, maybe you should find some indoor activity for your children and let them play in the evening or early morning hours. Thank you for listening.